Am I live? Yes, I am live. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Happy, what is it, Wednesday? Yes, it is. I figured let me jump on here for a little bit. I know it's a little late, but better late than never, right? So I figured I'd just come out here to say hello. And today, what I want to talk about is simple. The only way out is in. What I mean by that, one thing for sure is that we're in a time where you see that the matrix is all around you. There's so many programs outside of you to distract you from yourself, to keep you trapped in a prison mindset. And when they got you trapped in a prison mindset, you're like that mouse stuck on that trap because you wanted that cheese. So if you think about this, we see what's going on outside of us, right? With the pandemic, with the mask, the social distancing, that's which is a freaking oxymoron. You know, how can you be social if you're practicing social distancing? That doesn't make any sense. Those of you that checked out the my last live when I covered the face mask, why it's important for you to breathe. You know what? It's a program. They're trying to go ahead and keep you trapped. They're trying to keep you enslaved in your mind. Right now, what we're seeing is a war for your mind. Not only for your mind, but a war for you altogether. Because you are connected to everything that's not just here on this earth. I'm talking about everything outside of the earth. You are one with the stars. You are one with the moon. You are one with the sun. And you're also one with the universe. So this is how they want to keep you trapped because they figure if they keep you on cold lockdown, a prisoner of yourself, there is no way out. And the only way out is in, is knowing who you are, who you really are. I don't know how many of you watch Ralph Smart. I watch him. He's actually someone that I've been watching for the past 2 years. And for sure, one thing for sure, he talks a lot of truth, you know, and I salute him for all the stuff that he talks about because he just doesn't just talk about spirituality. He talks about real shit that's really happening. And I know earlier when I was listening to him, he was talking about the only way out is in, right? It's the same thing, like, for instance, and I talked about this before. If you can't go out, go in because there's a world inside of you. Okay, so the world that you're looking outside of you isn't really your world, right? Because one thing for sure is that this matrix is an illusion, right? So when you start tapping into who you are, you become more the self creator, right? Just like that, just like for instance the Matrix movie. The Matrix movie wasn't just a movie, it was a documentary based upon you. You know, so one thing for sure is like those that control everything or try to control everything have been having people so disconnected with themselves because of all the programs that's outside of them. So when you start tapping more into yourself, into your divine self, you start becoming detached from that program, from that illusion, and you start waking up to who you really are, your true essence of self. So when we are being busy bombarded by social media, the news, you know, the mainstream media, and everything that we see that's chaotic, you start operating in a very low frequency of fear and not having no type of self control. Because one thing for sure, if they put fear down your throat and they put a muzzle on you, they're keeping you silenced. They want to silence your voice. They want to silence your creation. Because one thing for sure, that you are also a co-creator. And what I mean by you being a co-creator, because when you're able to tap into who you are, you're able to tap into an energy that you never know you had, because you were never taught that kind of energy you possess, or the truth of who you are. You see, one thing for sure, the controllers, quote unquote, they've been keeping a lot of people dumbed down with so much shit that's part of a program that people don't know who they are physically, mentally, or spiritually. This is why we had religion. This is why we have politics. Everything that's been made within that matrix system has been nothing but a program of an illusion becoming your reality. Because for one thing for sure, when you think about fear, what is fear? Fear is false evidence appearing real. Okay, so you make it real. You make it manifests itself to you into your reality, which and then it takes your energy and traps you where you cannot create your own reality. Because one thing also is that you're not only living a uh, a life experience, but you're a spiritual being having a human experience. So if you're not tapping into who you are mentally, physically, or spiritually, you're gonna be easier detached from self, where you can't not grow as the individual you are, as being self-made, self-created. Everything starts with self, not outside of you. So when you think about like the whole nonsense with religion, how they put this program inside you because they want you to worship something outside of you. If you understand one thing for sure is like our ancestors were not at all religious. Our ancestors were spiritual beings. Our ancestors were very tuned in with consciousness. They were highly evolved beings. You know, they were pretty much far in their time with consciousness and the spirit. So when you think about the ancestors, and this is another thing too, like why people are so disconnected from their ancestors because of their story or his story. See, they took away your story and they give you a watered down version of their story to entrap you from you not being able to know who you are. Because see, here's the time. This is the time where we starting to rediscover ourselves. It's like rediscovering yourself to discover something more, and everything starts within. Just like that saying, "As above, so below, as within, as without." So when you start to realize more of what that means, you start thinking outside the box. Because why now what they want is to keep you inside a box. And that box is your mind. Okay? That box is your mind. Because once they trap you in your mind, they are able to not only trap your mind, but they start trapping your spirit and sucking the force out of your soul or the light out of your soul. which is why you see a lot of people walking around zombified. A lot of people walking around in fear. You see a lot of people walking around, they don't even look human no more because a lot of them are have been demonized. A lot of them have been possessed by outside forces. See, here's the thing, ladies and gents. There's a lot going on in the spiritual realm right now, and there's a lot of activity going on. We are actually we are in a war. World War III is happening, but it's more spiritual than it being more in the physical form. So what we're seeing right now is that we're starting to see a lot of things happening, especially those that are starting to wake up. You're starting to see the veil has been uplifted, and you're able to see right through the fucking cracks of the program, because a lot of the programs that they created are failing because a lot of us, like a lot of us that are waking up, are able to fuck with that program. We're fucking with that program because of the simple fact that, since one thing for sure, we all of us have energy. We are of frequency and a vibration. So your your inner self, when they call energy, the energy is considered to be your inner G, your inner goddess or God self. So when you're able to tap in to yourself and not tapping out to a program outside of you, you're starting to become more connected and more online. It's like, for instance, like let's put an example. Like say Wi-Fi, right? So if your modem is off, for some reason your modem's off or you've been disconnected, right? I know that's happened to me several times. Nothing's gonna work within your home. All your gadgets are off. Okay, there's no more Wi-Fi. But think about your body being Wi-Fi, because your body is also a signal. So think about you as being a modem, and think about the program that was going into your body, more like your mind, because everything's conscious. So when they alter the conscious and they give you a different perception, they could deceive you. So when they deceive you, they disconnect you. So when you start tapping in to yourself, everything inside you starts coming online. It starts coming online. It just starts coming up. Everything's energy. Even you're raising in a high frequency and a higher energy, you could easily knock off the fucking grid within your home on the gadgets that you have around you. You fuck with that frequency. Because remember, now you're online and now you're more than just a vessel. You're a spirit. Okay? So put it like this, like for instance, when someone passes on, death isn't the end. Death is just a transition. See, spirit is energy. Energy never dies. Okay? Energy never dies, but it does sleep. So when you're not connected with your spirit, your energy is sleeping, which is why you see a lot of people walk around dumbfounded. You see a lot of people zombified. You see a lot of people walking around in la la land. You know what I'm saying? Because put it like this, the outside world isn't the world you created. It's the world they created. That world is part of that matrix. But when you start tapping into yourself and you start connecting with the sun, the stars, and the moon and the heavens, even the inner world, right? That's where the spirit world is at. That's what you considered the other side. When you start connecting with all these different energies, you start becoming more tapped in. your energy, your inner God or goddess starts awakening. And when that happens, you start derailing that system. It starts becoming system failure, which is why they do so hard to keep you under wraps. They keep you in a stimulated program because they want to stimulate your mind. When they stimulate your mind, who knows about like the video games The Sims? Well, think about the Sims game. How you create an avatar and that avatar has a life because you created that. So think about the fact that your life is like a Sims game. They created that life outside of you, and you just operate however they want to throw crumbs at you, and you just follow those crumbs. Just like that mouse on that trap. When that mouse gets on that trap, it gets stuck because what was he doing? He was chasing not crumbs, but it was chasing the cheese. And when it went to that cheese, it just got snapped. It trapped itself. Okay, so think about the mind, the way the mind is. Why you think everything is a program? Put it like this, for instance. Why don't they want you to listen to some very conscious music, a music that uplifts you, a music of love, a music of a different beat. You get what I'm saying? If everything is rhythm, right? Everything's rhythm. Why is it they want to have you listening to dumbed down in music instead of uplifting your vibration and your frequency? Why is it that they want you just to be plugged into the TV set and listening to the mainstream media and falling in line with their program of fear? Because they figure they keep you on a certain frequency and a certain energy to trap you. One thing for sure, fear, if you operate in fear, you're pretty much a prisoner in a prison planet. See, I don't consider the earth a prison planet because that's not my reality. But I understand that that's a lot of people's reality because that's the way they want to look at it. See, when I look at the earth, I see a beautiful planet. I see connection with nature. I see connection with 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 spirit. Spirit's always all around me. But a lot of people can't see it that way because a lot of people are programmed to see it differently. So when you see it differently, you start to see it more like it is a prison planet. That's what it starts becoming to you. For instance, like if you're put it like this, if you're in a prison and you have a cellie and you are painting something, both of you are painting, and your cellie paints exactly what he sees. Say he sees it being empty outside his window. There's no life. He just sees the bars. That prisoner is going to paint what he sees with his two eyes. But the other prisoner is going to paint it differently. He's going to paint life. He's going to paint a sun. He's going to paint clouds. He's going to paint birds, bees, whatever, flowers, trees. Even though he outside the window is exactly what that prisoner seen, the first prisoner. But this guy's seen it differently. He's seen it with life. He was able to derail that program. Because one thing for sure, just because they put you in prison doesn't mean they really got you because they don't have your mind. Yes, they got the body. The body's in prison, but never the mind. So whenever you look at the earth differently, then thinking it's just a prison. And that's when everything starts changing. Because you become more of the programmer instead of the program. So if you think about the matrix, we also have a matrix within ourselves. We got a matrix system within ourselves, just like we have a solar system within us. And that solar system we have within ourselves is called a solar plexus. That's your solar sun system. And just like we have a heart chakra. Our heart chakra is pretty much it's the center of the earth. You ever look at earth and heart? Doesn't it go together. Like for instance, if you look at Earth, you see heart. You look at heart, you see Earth. Why? Because you're connected with the Earth. The center of the Earth has a heart. So if you're connected with the Earth, you yourself also has the center of the Earth within is your heart. That's the connection to the mother of all. Okay, this is the heart chakra is the connection to the mother, and the crown chakra is the center connected directly to the Father. This is why the Holy Trinity is considered to be the mother, father, and child, because through the solar plexus is where the Christ is born. Huh? The Christ is born within you. You become more of the Trinity that they brainwash you from thinking it's something else. Okay? So this is everything that's outside of you with politics, religion, all these different programs, these masks and this fear. Remember, it's all a program of distraction to keep you in lockdown, to keep you trapped within yourself, within your very own matrix. See, this is why they do what they do with all the distractions, especially how they do it as far as how they want to poison you. It's crazy how you don't even have to smoke to get cancer anymore. Keep eating the fucked up foods, you're gonna get cancer just eating the wrong foods. We got cancer in our foods. We got fluoride in the water. We got fluoride in toothpaste. The air is not safe to breathe. There's a lot of shit that they do to the body. Think about it. Why do they go to the extreme to do what they do to you? Think about it. They do what they do to you for a reason, because they know who you are. Sadly, a lot of you don't know who you are. But this is why we're in the time we're at now, because a lot of us are starting to wake up to who we are. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us are starting to wake up to who we are, because we're not just this avatar. We're more than just this avatar. This body is just where the spirit be in. You get what I'm saying? This is why when you pass on, the body stays here and the spirit goes on. The spirit lives on. Death is not the end, it's just a transition. A lot of us don't even know that. But see, here, you know what's crazy though? A lot of people they all want to go to heaven, but they don't want to die to get there. You get what I'm saying? They don't want to die to get there. You know, it's like when I like earlier today, I was out, had some things I had to do, and I be seeing people just walking around with masks on, like children. The adults with their kids all with their mask on. It's freaking hot outside, and they're with their mask on. You see people and bikes with mask on, like people driving in their cars with mask on. You see how that program affects the mind? It's psychology 101. The more fear they put into you, the more they got you trapped. Think about it. It's a shame how we have people really so sucker to be programmed. It's not fair to anyone to be stuck in that kind of program, especially if you have little ones. If you don't speak up for yourself and your children are looking up to you and you're not doing anything to change this, what are you going to tell your grandchildren or your children when they ask you, what did you do during the pandemic of 2020? What are you going to say? Oh, I just fell in line. I wore my mask and I took my vaccines. You know what they're trying to do with those vaccines, right? They want to tag you. They want to tag you to bag you. Not only that, those vaccines are not good for the body. If anyone ever gets sick from that virus, there's ways to cure that virus just with the herbs that Mother Earth provides us. We just gotta educate ourselves. You see, a lot of the education that we were taught when we were in school is part of that matrix system. They don't teach you what you really need to know. They teach you enough just to keep you trapped and be part of a program of control. It's a program of control. See, once you start realizing more of who you are, and you start going online, you start to realize that you are the controller. You are the master of the universe. You are really the master of the universe. Think about He-Man. You think that was just a cartoon? That wasn't just a cartoon. They were talking about you. All the movies that we see with superheroes, they get that concept from you. You are the superhero. It's crazy though because in the Bible they talk about fallen angels. You know who the fallen angels are? You, because you fell from your grace. You have fallen. A lot of people walk around asleep. A lot of people are the gods with amnesia. You see, if you think about the ancestors knew right on that they were the gods of the earth. They knew who they were. Why do you think they were so advanced? Why do you think their teachings live on to till this very present time? It's just that a lot of us have been so disconnected from our teachings, from our ancient ancestors. We forget that we carry their blood. The blood that we have, our DNA, our bloodlines, go directly to the ancestors of ancient times. A lot of us don't even know what kind of blood we carry. You see, when you look at superheroes like X-Men, that is you. A lot of us have a hidden gifts, hidden powers that we haven't tapped into yet because of the programs that we have outside of us. The only way they continue on trapping you and keeping you stuck is by deceiving and you believing the hype. It's just that fear. Because remember, fear is only false evidence appearing real. So it appears real to you because you have been, how can I put this? Um, you have been conditioned. You've been conditioned and you've been brainwashed. Why do you think they have created AI, the super intelligence? And why do you think they want to create you to become the cyborg? Because they want to take away your very soul essence of you and of your spirit. Think about this with this whole pandemic, the fear program. If anything, if you go back to the pandemic, when it started, where did it start? It started in Wuhan, China. a communist country. China is the first country that's shown us how deep and far they are willing to do to have everybody controlled, just like the 5G rollout. The 5G rollout started in China. The smart city Big Brother control grid started in China. All the viruses that we know have started in China. Why? If you think about the facility in Wuhan, China, if you go back and find out that who owns that facility, you're gonna find out that it's George Soros that owns that facility. Hell, back in 2017, they were somebody and the Wuhan facility was telling the public that there was gonna be a leak of a virus that was gonna be released out to the public real soon. Now, how did they know that was gonna happen? Because that virus was planned. It was a plan. Not only they want you to, they were trying to get rid of as much as people they can with their depopulation control agenda 21, but they figured they came up with a problem, which was the virus. The solution was, let's bring in fear, mask, 6 feet away from each other, social distancing, and then the reaction is the vaccines. Okay. Now, why is that? Why did they release it in China? Because they have been the stage of everything to show the rest of the world how they can control something. And how do they control that country? Is with fear and programming. It's a shame that in China you can't have more than 2 kids, I believe it is. And if you have more than 2 kids, they either take that child away from you or they make you abort it. So tell me, what is wrong with that picture? They forever they're releasing viruses in China, getting people sick, and they're dying. You know what's crazy that I go that right now that I was bringing up 5G and I remember something when I was covering the whole coronavirus back in April. I was looking at some shit and I remember seeing something where the minute they turn on this, they had launched the virus first, and then right after they launched that virus, they turn on the 5G towers. The minute they turn on those 5G towers, people were literally dropping dead in the middle of the street. You know, so just think about that. Think about how sinister China is, and think about how this country alone, excuse me, is pretty much doing exactly what China's been doing. You know, with the whole fear program, with the vaccines and the mask, and and it's like people out there are so used to wearing a mask that they don't protest against it. They're totally okay with it, and they don't realize that you shouldn't be okay with it because you need to breathe. You need to breathe. It's a must. Look what they're doing to the earth with the rain, with all these fires and the Amazons and all these fires that we see across the earth. They're killing the order of earth. They're killing the order of breath, the oxygen. The more they get rid of the oxygen of the earth, the more it lowers the certain levels, and of course, the earth becomes not safe to breathe because there's no water. Why I think they want you to be maxed up. And there's some places around the earth they have it mandatory where if you don't wear a mask, you get fined. Think about that. If these motherfuckers created the virus for depopulation control agenda 21 to kill you, and they poison the foods and they poison the water and they poison the air and all this other shit they do, why would they give a fuck about you if you wear a mask or not? It's for something else because they don't care about you. They want to get rid of you, but they also want to control you. They want to turn you into something else that's not human. Why do you think they want to go ahead and spread this fear where people are literally afraid to have human contact with one another? People are scared to shake hands, to give somebody a hug, to speak to someone right next to someone at grocery stores or anywhere you go into where there's people. People are scared. People are just literally walking around afraid. Like today, I was in a grocery store, and people just they don't want to. They do their best to avoid you, especially like me. I walk in there. I don't walk in there with a mask on. I do my shit without a mask. I don't be wearing a fucking mask. I ain't part of that program. Like I said, ain't nothing outside of me gonna control me. Nothing outside is gonna control me, and no one's gonna make me do anything that I don't want to do. I have the fucking control. But nobody wants to get around me because I'm walking around. They think I'm a fucking carrier or some shit. It's like, are you serious? But that's the way it is, man. And when I do try to talk to certain people, yeah, they get it somewhat. But it's like there's a saying you could you could bring a horse to the water, but you can't make the horse drink it. You know, you can't make them drink it. It's sad that where we live. I mean, what we see now, like everything that's happening. It's sad to see that. It's sad that we have people out there that don't speak up. They care not to know anything. They're so what they call that? So obedient. They're so obedient. They're so afraid. Oh my God, the virus. If you will know the simple fact that you already had that virus within yourself. We already have viruses within our body. But the more you resist the germs, the more you put in your own germs, you don't release the germs, and the more you don't breed, the more you don't boost up your immune system and you're fucking with your immune system, of course, when you get sick, you're not gonna be able to beat it. Okay? It's crazy though because when the virus was, at its strongest, especially during the winter, how people literally weren't going out nowhere because they were scared of being outside, but they were doing online shopping. And of course, you get your packages. People were literally getting sick from doing online shopping because they weren't outside getting the sun and they weren't outside getting breathing the air. They weren't outside doing anything. They were just stuck inside. And of course, if you're just stuck inside, you're not breathing right. You're not doing what the body needs to do. You you lock the body up. So when you lock up the body up, and when you get any fucking germs that's outside, and you get sick, you know what I'm saying? It's just like it's like a common cold that becomes more than just a common cold. You get what I'm saying? Especially when you're in fear, right? And you're operating in a low vibration, low frequency, and you're just on that fear program. It not only affects your mind mentally, but it affects you spiritually and physically. So when that happens, you're just pretty much you're fucking yourself. I don't know what no easier way to put it. You're pretty much fucking yourself. So it's like, what are we doing, man? It's like, why I don't see why people are just so just fall in line with shit instead of pick up a book, read, or instead of doing some research. I mean, we all have the same 24 hours a day. We all have the same conscious. You get what I'm saying? It's up to you to decide what you should do for yourself. Because the more we stay entrapment and disconnected, the more they control you, and it's just gonna get worse from there. As it is, put it like this: as it is, there's something big that's gonna happen in September, right? September is always a month that leads to different events, especially right now. What we see right now, if you think about September, there's a lot of events that happen in September within the history. If you look into September, the month of September, you're going to see, even going back all the way to 1776. Okay, if you go back to history, September as a month, for some reason, the occultists, like the Masons, those that want to control everything, they use September a lot. And right now that we see with September, when we know that October is where it starts getting cold, they're planning on releasing something in October to make it to fuck with the elections in November. So November is going to be a month to remember. So we're going to be looking at so many different events happening within this time frame. Because remember, this is already 2012. We already at the end of a cycle. This is already considered the end of the world. But see, the world never ends. Just like everything, it goes through a transition, goes through a phase, which is why a lot of people are starting to wake up to who they are, because they're also going to the phase. Okay, and the only way you go to that phase is when you start realizing that there's something changing inside you. Instead of denying it, give yourself full access to it, because there's a reason why you're starting to wake up. There's a reason why you're starting to get online. Okay, and this is not a fairy tale story or some. A lot of us been here before. We've been here before. It's time for us to remember. Because remember what I said, that we are goddesses and gods with amnesia. We're under a spell. All right? So when you are part of that program, you're so busy part of that program that you forget about the program you can create. Remember, this is 2020. It has to do with inner sight, inner knowing of thyself, your inner vision. Okay? And just like I said with my past videos, how the coronavirus was no coincidence that it was called the corona, because you have a crown. It's your crown chakra. A lot of you are queens and kings. A lot of you have a kingdom. A lot of you have a kingdom. And that kingdom is just waiting for you to take your throne and put your crown back on. Okay? Which is why they have these programs to program you. Instead of you fucking with that program and programming that program. Right? So just think about that for a second. Like I said, if you really think you're just that avatar, I'm here to tell you you're not. Just like I've said before, you are great. There's a lot of greatness in you. You just have to find it. You have to tap in. You just have to tap in. And the only way you do that is you tap out to tap in. Like when World Smart said, the only way out is in. In. Okay? In. When you go in, when you go more in it within yourself, you start waking up that core. That core. That memory starts coming back. There's that song that says, I remember now. I got my memory back. I remember now. I got my memory back. You get what I'm saying? Because it starts coming back to you. Everything that you experience in past lives or whatnot comes back to you. How? Because everything is stored in the memory bank of your consciousness. It's in your conscious. It's in your subconscious. So if you are experiencing anything different within around you, within yourself, take that as signs that you are starting to wake up. Especially numbers, synchronicities. Numbers hold a specific language, which how your higher self can connect with you, or your spiritual team that you're not aware of yet because you haven't made contact with them, but they're trying to make contact with you. So whenever you're seeing synchronicities of numbers, numbers goes with your language of your vibration, your vibe. Because remember, numbers were around before letters. Okay, so if you vibrate at a certain vibration and there's something happening with inside you, you start going ahead, you start changing the game, baby. There's no other way to put it. You start changing the game. And that's the good thing about this life right now is that we're here to change the fucking game. We're not here to play that game no more. That game is over. It is just a failure. For instance, like this, like me, I don't know how to play chess, right? I could play a hell of a good checker game, but I don't play chess. I don't know how to play chess. But let me tell you what I know how to play chess in the spiritual realm. And the spiritual realm, I'm a fucking chess player. Okay, but in the physical realm, I don't play that chess board game. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm already a motherfucking king. You get what I'm saying? I think differently than that. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at a chess game, what do you have? You get the pawns, you got the queens and the kings and whatever, right? You see, I'm on Aries, I'm an emperor. Okay, so I already know who I am. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but why do I know who I am? Because I took the time to go in there and find out who I am. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of us are very powerful spiritual beings. We just gotta get online. We gotta remember. We gotta remember that. You gotta remember who you are. You gotta remember who you are. Especially right now, the things that we're seeing right now. A lot of shit is starting to be opened up to us. A lot of shit is starting to get revealed to us. Look what's going on in Hollywood with all these celebrities and these fucking politicians and these CEOs with the pedophile ring they were involved in, all this satanic shit that's happening and all this shit that's going on. A lot of shit is starting to come to us. It's starting to be revealed to us. The veil is open. It's lifted. It's up to you to really look at that and see it for what it is, and know that there's more shit coming, right? But start to be aware of it. There's just a lot of people that still don't believe that what's happening. That's how fucking conditioned people can be. That's how conditioned people are because of the programming outside of them. See, here's the thing: we were taught differently by our parents and our grandparents and so forth because they were taught differently because of the programs. So they put those programs into us. You get what I'm saying? So it's hard to detach yourself from those programs. You get what I'm saying? Because the more you attach to certain programs, the more you're stuck. See, life isn't supposed to keep you stuck. Life is supposed to either it could break you or make you. But the only reason why life will break you is because you allow it to break you. Life isn't there to break you. Life is supposed to teach you, to show you, direct you. Because remember, you are the director. You're the director of the life. Just like when they say you're the author of your own book, that means you're the director of your life as well because you direct. You can direct, you can cast, and you can act. Because why when I just like when I said you could either cast, direct, or act because you could manifest shit into your reality, to into your world. You get what I'm saying? That's you acting or casting. You feel me? So you gotta think like that and those and that terminology. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, this is your life journey. This is not their journey. This is your life story, not their story. What is crazy is that when they also talk about false idols, when they talk about false idols, you're gonna think about the celebrities, the stars. Because one thing for sure, you are made of star dust. Therefore, you are a star. You are the main star looking at someone in a TV that's trying to portray you. You get what I'm saying? They are false stars portraying to be you. They keep you so behind that screen, getting that blue beam light, where you're not going in there and finding your light. You're being you're being pretty much say detached to self because you're falling in line with programs outside of you. Why do you think celebrities cannot speak their truth? Why do you think celebrities cannot speak on whatever they see and they're a part of? Because they signed up to that program. They can't speak like me or like someone that does what I do here because they're so conditioned, not only conditioned, but they know what they signed up for. They know if they speak, they either lose their life or everything gets taken away from them. And we already see how fucked up how it could be with look at Kanye West. When he was starting to speak up his truth, they sent that motherfucker right to a hospital right away to reprogram him one more time. To go ahead and put him under that MK Ultra. See, a lot of shit happen. A lot of shit is real. A lot of shit is real. A lot of that shit is real. Just like Operation Paperclip, that shit is real. Like once the World War II was over, here the United States was bringing in a lot of Nazi scientists over here to this country because they knew how to program one's psyche. When you think about the fluoride, fucking Hitler used fluoride on the Jews to program their minds to disconnect them from self. Why do you think we got fluoride now in our waters? What does fluoride do to you? Fluoride, it decalcifies your pineal gland, your spiritual, your spiritual gifts. Okay? Remember, the third eye is considered to be the first eye. It's also the mind's eye. Why do you think Christ in the Bible, when he said, the only way to me is through, he said, the only way to the Father is through me. But in our words, since they fuck with that, with his words and they use it, for their program, he really meant the only way to the Father is through your mind's eye. Okay? The mind's eye is the way to the Father. Why? Because the mind's eye is connected to the corona. Okay? The way to the Father. And the only way that Christ is reborn is from the mother, the heart chakra, right? So let me go ahead and I wanted to go ahead and check and share something on my and my thing over here. Let's see. Now that we're talking about, I was talking about here about the matrix. I want to share this really quick because we are connected to the matrix. We are part of the matrix. The matrix is us. And just like I mentioned earlier, there is a living matrix within us. So let's read this a little bit. So living matrix. So let's say here in this landmark text, energy medicine. Excuse me. The scientific basis of biophysics details the body's living matrix, a complex network formed by all systems of the body. Remember, I was telling you how we have 7 chakras. That's our energy force. It's our networks. Okay. When I said you got to go online because you're part of a network. When you think about network builds your net worth. Huh. Okay. So so energy is at its core, and building his case, Ashman points out that DNA's response to pulsing magnetic fields has been well documented. Can you remember what I said days ago? How we have an aura, it's part of an electric magnetic field, right? That is your shield, your field to any bad energy that wants to try to come at you, like psychic vampires or so forth. So so he also describes as extra tracelator matrix found throughout the body and its multifaceted relation to energy fields. This continuous fabric of connective tissue exerts specific and important influences upon cellular dynamics, just as hormones and neurotransmitters. The escalator matrix may be connected, linked to other systems. Let me move this up more. As it is performs to functions related to psychological regulation, memory, and consciousness. Okay. He also relates learning to changes in the extracellular matrix. He also regards the accelerator matrix as part of a large system extending throughout the body that consists of the, the cytoskeleton, a molecular scaffolding that gives each cell its shape and ability to move. And the nuclear matrix within each cell combine these matrices, matrices form a tissue integrity matrix system, the living matrix, which provides the structures and abilities of the physical body. The living matrix generates and transmutes vibrations in the form of mechanical waves, electrical signals, magnetic and electromagnetic fields, heat, and light. Remember what I said earlier, how your body is also walking Wi-Fi signal. And when you go online, you start activating your light and your heat, right? You are light and heat, like night and day, day and night, sun and moon, moon and sun. You are connected to everything outside of you, which is all that's connected with mother, right? So you also have all that within self. So there's no coincidence that here you see this, the living matrix within yourself. You're dealing with mechanical waves, electrical signals, because when you at a high vibe, you send signals to your devices around you that you fuck with that grid. So why do you think now that people are starting to come online that the matrix system is failing because it doesn't it cannot stand the intense vibration of everyone that's releasing that vibe or that electric mechanical wave and that signal that's coming off their body, which is why they made that 5G to fuck with your aura, your electric magnetic grid, and your vibration and your energy. Okay? So it may turn out that the science documents that as evidence by memory storage in soft tissues. Remember what I was talking about your how you, when you remember your past lives, everything is stored into your memory bank. Even your Akashic records is stored in your memory and in your DNA. So it's like soft tissue, right? An extremely rapid communication throughout the body due to the living matrix. The entire body is responsible for awareness that is now relegated solely to the brain, right? For this, for this, accounting various forms of energy are part of the mix. He thinks that all these energies from a symphony of vibratory messages that is called synchronicity. Okay, symphony, like an orchestra, right? Of messages that are coming to you because your consciousness is starting to be aware of changes that's happening within your matrix body. The Neo or the Trinity is starting to wake up. Like Morpheus has said, take the blue pill, you stay asleep in Wonderland. Or you take the red pill and you wake up in Wonderland and see how far the white rabbit goes, the hole, how far that hole goes. So consciousness is the totality of these vibrations. Yes, absolutely. Because again, consciousness never dies. It's limitless. It's it's always living. It never goes anywhere. It never goes anywhere. So let me share this one right here. Hold on, let me see something. All right. So let me make sure I'm sharing this because I know the last time I thought I was sharing stuff and I wasn't even sharing anything. I was just talking. It's like, damn it. Okay. So this is Neil deGrasse Tyson explains the origins of atomic elements in our bodies. So here, what's the human body made of? 99% consists of atoms of just six elements: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. Okay. Phosphorus is another name for Lucifer. Okay. And this is in our DNA. So with the remaining at 1% consisting of trace elements like magnesium, sulfur, and iron, but where did those elements come from? The question long presented a puzzle to scientists. At least it did until the publication of a new obscure scientific paper in the middle of the 20th century as celebrated astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson explains in a new video above. There was a seminal paper, one of the most important research papers ever published, that gave us the description of origin of elements, Tyson says in the video. Yeah, it's kind of suck. I'm going to play that video because of the speakers I don't have. but that's fine. So the paper is entitled "The Synthesis of the Elements in Stars." Remember, I said earlier how we are walking stars. We are made of star dust, but and sometimes referred to us as the P2FH paper. After the author's initials, it was published in Reviews of Modern Physics in 1957. Before its publication, the prevailing theory held that all elements were products of the Big Bang 15 billion years ago, but this theory accounted only for light elements like hydrogen and helium. So, where did the heavy elements found in nature come from? It says here the P2FH paper argued that all heavy elements were created within stars via nuclear fusion, a process known as the stellar nucleosynthesis as stars cool and die. They release the heavy elements into space. Ultimately, some of the material is incorporated into planets and even our bodies. This is awesome right here. Because look, if we were made of stardust, and when we die, when it's finally our last time coming back to the earth as an incarnated being, we return back as a star. So stars never really die, ladies and gentlemen. They just cool down. So if we of body is considered a star, so think about that. Like I said earlier, how we are actual stars and superstars and superheroes, and we're fucking giving our time looking at these false idols, at these stars, while we are the stars, right? And a lot of us don't even make connections with the stars outside in the sky, and those are our ancestors. We're too busy programmed and conditioned that we don't even take the time to look up or connect with ourselves, which is why it's very important that we start doing that. We start connecting with ourselves because, especially the fact that what we're seeing right now, things are just gonna get worse for so many people if people don't start taking control of their life, their circumstances, or themselves. You're gonna have outside programs controlling you, just like we see now. So, if the paper was so important, why do few non-scientists know about it? According to Tyson, it's because the paper's origins don't fit conventional notions of scientific discovery. Of course not. They don't want you to know anything about the discovery of who you are. They want to keep that on the wraps because they know the more you find out who you are, what happens? You're able to cut those fucking strings. You know, you're no longer the puppet. You become the master. So there was no lone scientist burning the midnight oil making the Eureka discovery. Tyson says it was a little easier than that, but the consequences of it are profound. So yeah, I'm not able to I can't play that video. So you guys can check this link out, check it for yourselves and see it. Go over there. So let me get out of there. Let me close that. And this is something very, 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 very important to check out too. Let me stop the share right here. Do a new one. All right. Unfortunately, that video looks like it's gone. Okay, well, check this out. It says here, beautiful 666, the power and impact of the melanin the God gene has on mankind. So here, it says here, the post is the shine light and the power of blessings of melanin in hopes that the this enfranchise and mentally brainwashed people of color can embrace the darkness of their skin and study self to find the God-given power within. Remember, we're giving our power and battery and energy to something else outside of us that's been used to control the God self, right? So our TV love and honor all humanity. I like when they put that hue, because hue like this means light. Okay, that means light. So you are a light being of light, right? So what its spectrum of colors and cultures, yet we weep for the original indigenous peoples who are taught to hate the way they were divinely made, because we are those indigenous people. We are our ancestors, and our ancestors are us. They live within our blood, they live within us. So the truth about melanin, the dark matter. Oh yeah. Let's see. Talking about dark matter. This right here is an awesome book. It's called The Dark Light Consciousness, Melanin Serpent Power and the Luminous Matrix of Reality by Edward Bruce Bynum, PhD. I actually found this on Amazon, and let me tell you, this book is fucking badass. It really is. This is a really good book. Although I haven't read it for a while, I'm chapter 4, but this is a really good book to get. And the reason why I brought it up, because we're talking about dark matter. So it's like this: dark matter matters, just like your junk DNA, and they want to call that the junk DNA. That matters. If it's in you, it fucking matters. Your melanin matters. Your pineal gland matters. Your consciousness matters. Your spirit matters. Your soul matters. The 666 you have inside you matters. It's in your DNA. So dark matter that many have been taught to hate is called melanin is 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons, which creates the carbon atom, which is melanin. Remember carbon atom, Adam and Eve story, that Bush's story that Eve came out the rib of Adam. Everything comes out the womb of the mother, the uni, right? The vagina. Everything comes out the mother, the woman. Ain't no motherfucking woman came out a motherfucker's rib. You know what I'm saying? I'm a father of 7, and none of my 7 kids came out my motherfucking rib. You get what I'm saying? How the fuck is that possible? You see these stories they want to put in their fucking and their book of control to give you this bullshit story, so you won't even be able to create your own. You feel me? So 666 in Christian circles is considered to be the mark of the beast and said to be evil. However, 666 is melanin. God made. I want to say God is made. Okay? Because the God is also made God. You know what's crazy though? Because they always say ladies first, this and that, ladies first, ladies, women are more smarter than men, and blah blah blah. I'm not arguing that that's not true, but I get it. Since we've been so brainwashed to forget about the feminine energy, We've been so disconnected and brainwashed, and we just think about the masculine energy all the time, especially with that Trinity, that false Trinity of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We forget Mother, La Mera Mera, La Mera Mera, the main one. She created God. Okay, she's the main chief. She's the main one, right? So the reason why we're so disconnected to knowing the most important feminine energy that connects us with everything is because of the programs that we were raised up with. Remember, Christ, the return of Christ is reborn in your solar. But what helps that connection? Your heart, the center of the earth, your connection with mother. Mother, child, the solar, and father, the corona. Okay? Very important to know that. And of course, the Holy Trinity is your Kundalini serpent energy, which is also the feminine energy. You see, like I've said, we possess the feminine and masculine energies, as above, so below, right? So we have, like me, I have the feminine energy within myself. You get what I'm saying? That's my that's my love. That's my being compassion, being passionate, being full of compassion, being passionate, and so forth. That's the heart space of me, my connection to my mother. You get what I mean? So we lose that very soul and sense of who we are as being the one with the awe, the connections of energy and self. So look here. This is the chemical makeup of melanin. Six electrons, six protons, and six neutrons. Melanin gives black people superior physical, mental, and spiritual abilities. But it doesn't just give black people, it gives all of melanin native beings physical and mental and spiritual abilities. Okay? So melanin refines the nervous system in such way that messages from the brain reach other areas of the body most rapidly in black people, the original people. So black people are not the only original people. The Amix, which was a mixture of race, as such as I. One of my past lives was an Amic, which is why I still got connection to my culture and to the ancient ones. As I said last time when I was talking about the Amics, how they were a lost civilization, but later they went through a metamorphosis, they went through a transition. They became the Mayans, later as we know as the Aztecs. Okay. So let me clear that up with this article. All right. Not taking nothing away from it, but I'm adding some truth to it too. So when they stand, crawl, and walk sooner than whites and demonstrates more advanced cognitive skills than their white counterparts because of their abundance of melanin. So I mean, yeah, it's very true how the more melanin you are, the more melanated you are, the more skills or gifts of abilities you have. Like, see, me myself, I learned to walk before I crawled, and I was only, I want to say, what, 11 months, 10 to 11 months old. I was small when I started walking. I walked before I crawled. That's because of the melanin I have. See, here's the thing. Even when I was out there in the hood, man, I don't like seeing my area dirty. Even when I was out there in the neighborhood, I always knew I had these like these awareness, like these inner gifts that would tell me something. Like my spider senses would be going off, like shit, something about to pop off or whatever, you know. So that's because of the melanin that I had, you know. It's just I had that advantage when I was out there in the block. You know what I mean? But that just goes with the territory of who I was or who I am, right? So let's carry on. So your mental process, brain power are controlled by the same chemical that gives black humans melanin humans their superior physical, athletic, rhythmic dancing abilities. The chemical is melanin. So the abundance of melanin in all melanated humans produces superior organism physically, mentally, and spiritually. This is why all the founders of the world's great religions, I don't know why they put religions because fuck religion. Religion is a stepchild to spirit. So melanin is the neurochemical basis for what is called the soul in all melanated people. Because without the soul, you don't have the light. This is why there's a lot of soulless beings that walk the earth because they don't have the light no more. They don't have the soul. So so this is why they excel in other areas as well. They pass they once they roadblocks are removed. So they say here is God black. Again, they keep using God. You know, this article is just like they need to do better. But the reason why I'm reading it because it they got you know she whoever wrote it they got some good truth to it, you know. But the goddess is she black? I believe she's all melanin she's all full of different color melanated beings because we were made in their image and likeness of them. So I don't say that yeah that's true. But either way, it's still a good article. Um, just give you an idea of how important it is that you know who you study your body, you know who you are from your bloodline to your of course your ancestral tree, right? You have to know that, know who you are. Study your name, study your birthday, go through your birth chart, find out your life path number. If anyone ever wants to know what that is, you know, just look it up, and they'll show you how to go ahead and do your life path number. You know, it's um, it's very important to know stuff like that, how to calculate your numbers. Um, there's a book I have on that too that I got it right here. The numerology one, and this got the life path numbers. This got everything in here, and you can find this on Amazon too. So that's something good to know. So let's see. Okay. So it says most whites have classified pineal glands. You know that's true, which is why they like to classify ours. Think about it. So let's see. Sembelin is located in the brain, the tiny pineal or pituitary glands, relegated to the body's other glands. So those glands as the third eye, the seat of the soul. Awesome. the Egyptian royalty, the crown, right? The corona, beautiful woman. So here, let's see. Why did Africans view the European as a child of God? Well, because they were brainwashed too. We were all brainwashed too. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know if I want to continue reading this thing. It's a lot of reading. Yeah, I don't want to read all this. I give you the. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in the over here somehow and put it out as a comment and just leave it there. You guys can check it out. This is a very good article. It's a lot of reading though, and I'm not really trying to be on here for too long. But this is a very very good article for anyone that's interested. See, look at the DNA. Always important to know who you are, man. Know who you are. This is why they do so much to disclassify to to classify to disclassify our pineal glands. They want us to have a fucked up pineal gland, so we want to have our spiritual gate to the soul way open. They want to keep us in cold lockdown, keep us trapped. It's pretty much fucked up from there, right? Yeah, try. This is very, very interesting article. Yeah. So they want to keep us classified. They want us to have our pineal gland classified. So you gotta declassify that fucker. Okay, yeah. This is another one I wanted to show really quick. So how to reconnect with your higher self? So here it says, have you ever felt you are so much more than you are? Outer activity in current life seems to indicate. Have you ever had a sense that inside of you, somewhere is the great being of light and power? That you had a deeper purpose? If so, then you already have an awareness of the wonderful being of light that you truly are. Your real higher self. By reconnecting with your higher true self, you experience more joy, happiness, peace, and abundance. So this is steps of connecting with your lower self first. Before you can what? Dive into such a sacred undertaking as connecting with your higher self, you must connect with your lower self. We all share the same lower self, and that is Mother Earth. You cannot reach her via meditation, but rather by being joyous, playful, and truly becoming a kid again. Yeah, you connect with your inner self, your inner child. You will know when you have made the connection because you will never feel safer or more exuberant than when that time comes. As this first step isn't completed, the journey is connecting with the higher self becomes virtually impossible. Yeah, you always got to go to your lower self first. You got to get to your Lucifer first as well. But what starts that spark? Your heart center, the connection to Mother, because it sets the awakening of your root. It sets that spark. Remember, the root is considered to be charcoal. So what does charcoal need to be lit? And it's fire. The solar is the element of fire. So two, forgive yourself and others. Do not hold on the past. Realize that you don't have to forgive and forget. You can still acknowledge that you or someone else did something wrong, while at the same time forgiving non-forgiveness binds you energetically to another person and your lower self, your ego. Like to say your ego isn't your amigo. This is why a lot of people too have a hard time trying to find their higher self because they get stuck with that program, with that lower self, that ego. They get attached to a lot of shit and they can't seem to get out of it. So number three, do a 7 day evaluation. Write down every time you engage in bad habits and negative energies such as anger, doubt, fear, worry, discouragement, restraint, etc. At the end of the evaluation, list what you consider to be your worst habits and momentum, then resolve to go after them by one and overcome them. Awareness begins the undoing, intention, determination, and focus continues the solving of bad habits and negative momentum. Four, identifying getting rid of limiting beliefs. So we all pick up limiting beliefs, false beliefs along the way, which keep us from being all we can be. So think about this. What has been the most factor in giving you these limiting beliefs of self? Is the religion, your parents, your grandparents, the education system, all these limiting beliefs that are false beliefs to self for keeping the God trapped in, right? They don't want the God self to be awakened to self. They want to keep you trapped in and these false limiting beliefs of the ego, right? So those beliefs can even cause pain and suffering. Resolve to really look at the things you believe in and why you have the belief. Realize that no one is forcing you to believe anything, and the beliefs are not a part of who you really are. Determined to keep an open mind and how that limiting beliefs are keeping you from fully connecting with your true self. Clearly, see that false beliefs are restricting you from experiencing all the goodness of life as well as contributing to suffering and a sense of struggle in life. Determined to let them go. Five, build positive momentum. Developing and maintaining positive momentum is essential on your spiritual path and will help you reconnect more fully with your higher self each day. Focus on one positive momentum you would like to work on and commit to it, integrating it throughout the day. For example, keeping your harmony, being more joyful, helping others, etc. So pretty much one thing that I've been learning through this process of mine too, journaling, doing a journal, writing 7 things what I like about myself, and writing 7 things what I dislike about myself. And every time I write the 7 things or 7 things I like and don't like, the 7 things that I don't like about myself help me improve within that area of the 7 things I don't like to improve them, and by increasing the 7 things I like about myself. So that's another way too of holding a sense of accountability and taking ownership of who we are. Because see, one thing for sure, like the religion, they don't teach you how to take accountability of your actions. They tell you give it all to God and let Him take care of it. How are you taking any accountability for the shit you do? Which is why a lot of people never learn from mistakes. They never learn the lessons because they believe that fuck it, I made a fucked up mistake. God will forgive me. Let Him take my suffering, my pain, and whatever I went through, and He'll make everything better. But in reality, it doesn't, because it doesn't go away. You always keep facing the same. You always keep facing certain mistakes and less, and you never learn from those mistakes because you're not taking any accountability or any ownership. One thing for sure, you have to take extreme ownership of your actions, because this life is here to teach you, not to keep you trapped. So when you're making the same mistakes and not learning the lessons, you're being stuck in limbo. You're like that. You like put it like this: the butterfly makes a web for what? Not for him just to lay on that web, but for him to catch life. So a fly is free to fly everywhere he wants to fly at, but a fly is still not very conscious enough because he flies right into the fucking web and it becomes food to something else. So think about a spider, a web, and a fly, and think about you. You get what I'm saying? So the only way to be in harmony with self is to know thyself. Know thyself. Love yourself. And there's another thing too. We don't. We're too busy trying to find someone to accept us and love us, and many times that we forget that we don't. We forget that love comes from within first. In order for you to love someone outside of yourself, you have to truly learn to love yourself first. And this is why we're so wanting to be loved by something else outside of us that we forget the main ingredient of everything starts with self. The more you love yourself, the more you raise your that love frequency, the more the more you pretty much vibrate on that love, and it sends out like that channel out to someone else that vibrates on that same frequency as you, and love starts coming to you instead of you looking for love. Excuse me. You get what I'm saying? So love starts coming to you instead of you looking for it. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying is like we had to start developing certain skills within ourselves, because the more we get trapped and commit to something else outside of us, we forget that the commitment starts with you. So, 6, feel every day with gratitude. Be always grateful. Excuse me, be always grateful for what you have. Every day. Practice gratitude. Practice being humble. Be thankful, be happy for what you have. Because remember, there's a lot of people on this earth that are millionaires, billionaires, and whatnot, but they forget that that doesn't carry anything. The real currency is what you do in this experience, in this life journey. That's the real currency. Money is just energy. When you're tapped in, that energy frequency of money, you become more abundant. You become more abundant because of the simple fact that you practice gratitude. You practice gratitude every day. You're thankful for what you have. And being thankful and being practicing gratitude brings in more abundance, more wealth, better health, a better life, right? One thing for sure is what we all live this experience for, is to have a better life, not get caught up in the material aspect of the world, right? Like the fancy cars, the mansions, and all this ridiculous shit that's part of a program too, if you think about it, because you can't never take none of that shit with you when you pass on. Half the time, a lot of these people that have that are not happy with themselves. They need more and more and more. They indulge in that shit. They binge in that, and they're never happy. They never find real gratitude. They find themselves lost, alone. You get what I'm saying? So the most humblest person can be the one that's broke. Well, broke is just a mindset. So let me rephrase that. The most humble person is the one that has the less, because they're happy with what they have, although they can have more. never limit yourself in thinking you can't ever have more than what you have, but also understand the measures of it, and practice that mindset of gratitude. Be more thankful, because remember, you're not going to ever take any of that with you. And the real currency is what you do on this earth, what you came here to do. That's the real currency, if anything, because that holds weight even in the spiritual world and the spiritual realm. Whatever you do, that's the real currency. You get what I'm saying? That's the real abundance. That's the real energy you want to focus on. Not on the fancy cars and a mansion and all that money. It's even for one, it has to deal with even your health. Health is wealth, right? So as you go through your day, regularly express your gratefulness for everything you can think of. The wonderful day, the beautiful flowers, the sunshine, your spouse, the smile on your child's face, and that's what gets me every morning when I wake up. So, my 4-year-old, that smile, seeing that smile on his face, man, it's just, it just melts my heart. You know what I'm saying? Just to see him happy. You know, that's one of my things of practicing the gratitude too. Just able to see my son's reaction when he sees me in the morning when he wakes up. So that's a beautiful feeling. Your family's health, and on. Let gratitude fill your heart, and you'll be surprised to see what a difference this will make. Gratefulness opens the doorway to true self, right? Because remember, it's also connected to the heart. So make it's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. 7, maintain harmony. Harmony is one of the major keys, if not the major key, on the path to raising your consciousness and reuniting with your higher self. Harmony is an internal quality springing from the heart and not just an external expression. Harmony involves mastering your emotions and not letting them control you. State your clear intention to be centered in the harmony and be harmonious in every situation you meet. Keep centered in the heart. Remember, center in the heart as much as possible and focus on peace and harmony. Always find the balance. Like, for instance, whenever you can turn a negative into a positive, that's keeping the harmony within yourself, being the alchemist, able to turn and flip that energy and make it into a positive. Because out of every negative thing you have in your life, you could switch that motherfucker around. Like, for instance, if they throw you lemons, what do? You take them, make motherfucking lemonade, right? That's how it works. Yeah, think like that. Always be in harmony with yourself. Don't lose control of yourself, because the minute you lose control of yourself, then something else controls you. So that's one of the major keys is always practicing harmony. Okay? Harmony is the major key to raising your consciousness, to reaching your higher self. So practice number 8, practice non-reaction. Reacting negativity to situation, I mean, reacting negatively to situations destroys harmony. Realize that in every situation you can choose to react in a positive way or a negative way. That's up to you. It really is. You have the choice either to respond to it negative, or be like, you know what? I'm gonna find something positive out of here, and I'm gonna use it. You get what I'm saying? That's a true alchemist. To be able to turn water into wine and to turn the negative into a positive. So so realize that in every situation you can choose to react as a positive way or a negative way. That's up to you. There's always a split second before you react to something where you do have a choice. Even if you react in a negative way, initially you have the choice to continue to react and resolve the situation, or to let it go Diffuse a negative reaction by centering in your heart and breathing deeply. This will help connect with your higher self. True. 9. Learn to stay neutral. Neutral is a powerful state of emotional balance and inner quiet and peace. It's a place of equilibrium where you are more able to access the wisdom of your higher self. Learning to stay neutral is a key to becoming non reactive to situations. Being neutral is not a state of not feeling anything, but rather a state where you are in balance with your emotional responses to what is happening, neither reacting negatively or becoming overly excited. Like, for instance, all this shit that's happening outside with the mask, the COVID, none of that's brought my energy down. None of that has brought derailed my attention or put me in a fear state of mind. The way I react to it is by spreading information on it, spreading awareness, and letting people know that that shouldn't be part of your program, because that program is there to pretty much to keep you and that illusion state of mind. Instead of you've been able to derail that illusion, you're becoming part of that stigma, or not, or being stuck on that illusion of that web, right? That false Maya matrix illusion. So this is how you it's how you react to it with your emotions. Um, don't get me wrong. I know sometimes, like especially like when I see stuff about children, it does affect me to a certain degree. It upsets me. It does piss me off. I'm a parent, so it's gonna trigger me. But it doesn't take me off my path. It just pretty much where I deal with that, and I deal with it and I balance it. I shy I put a light on it, because a part of the light on it is like spreading information about what's going on out there with our children and what's happening. You can't leave it in the darkness, because then no one knows about it, right? So you shed the light on it. You have to bring that to the dark. You have to bring that darkness to the light. That's one way I deal with it. I don't just shove it under the rug and be like, well, that doesn't portray me, or that has nothing to do with me, because that's where people fail, is that everything that goes out there, if you care to realize it or not, it affects you. Because if you're not knowing any better, and you're just falling in line with the shit, it's affecting you, because it's gonna be taking away more from you, your freedoms, your rights. Already they're trying to take away where you can't even breathe freely. You get what I'm saying? So if it's affecting you, but the only way it doesn't affect you is if you just take yourself out of that equation of that fear factor, and acknowledge that it's there, but don't not to be part of that, but be part of the solution of that. If that makes any sense. So, future, present, and past. Number 10, live in the moment. Much of suffering comes from not living in the now. Our minds are unbelievably powerful when focused, but most of that power is lost by not living in the moment. The present is where your power is. Most importantly, you can only connect with your higher self when you are in the present. Learn to let go of the past, projecting into the future, worrying, and anything else that takes you away from the present moment. Peace is the now. One thing for sure, I say this: I am my past, I am my present, and I am my future. I understand my past self helped me get to my present self, and my present self is going to help me get to my future self. That's the way I look at it. But I focus always in the now of the moment, because the now of the moment helps me connect to not only just to myself, but my future higher self. Because why? Because I am in the moment of the now. And of course, you gotta have peace. 11, surrender. One of the most important things we can do to reconnect with our higher self is to surrender. Surrender to who? To yourself. You. Surrender to you. Let go of that which causes us pain, suffering, unhappiness, and limitation. As long as we are primarily operating from our lower self ego, remember the ego is not your amigo, we are unfortunately trying ourselves to those very things. When negative, I'm sorry, tying, not trying, I seen trying. It's tying ourselves to those very things. When negative emotions arise, the key is to immediately surrender to them. God, sorry, Goddess, God, the universe. If you find yourself reluctant to surrender something or find you are still evolving the same thing over and over along with the negative emotions, you need to ask yourself why. What is the payoff? What is the juice the lower self is feeding on? Poor me, look how I was wrong, etc. Realize that whatever the ego is holding on to, it will continue to cause you grief and suffering until you are willing to surrender it completely. Remember, you have a choice to continue to hold onto negative emotions and suffering or surrender them as a result, find more happiness and peace in your life. Like, for instance, the mistakes. Surrender to the mistakes by finding the pattern of the mistakes that you've been making to resolve them, to move on from them. Sometimes mistakes we make, we can't really resolve them because they're not all mistakes that you make are there to resolve anything. It was just there to show you something. So you have to be able to use discernment of the mind to choose, is this mistake something that it's to show me something, or am I supposed to learn from this? You have to really know pretty much what is that mistake. What is that? What is that? What is that that you're holding on to that's causing this poor me syndrome or this wrong me syndrome? Okay, because remember, suffering and unhappiness and all these different traits of the human experience is all experience. You have to learn to let go of the pain and the suffering. But one thing for sure, the pain, when you go through the pain, you get your strength. I always remember that. When you're going through the suffering, you're going through the suffering for because many times the suffering that you go through is for lessons in life. Many times the greatest the greatest teachers and speakers of motivation or life coach, they're the ones that go through a lot of shit. And many times they're the ones that went through the shit, like the suffering and all this different pain, is to teach you is to teach you life experiences that you don't have to go through. That's many times why people have suffering and pain and happiness, because many times you have to go through it, but doesn't mean that you should hold on to that. You let go of that because all that are just learning curves, learning blocks. And what you do with learning blocks, you move up, you move up to the next block, you move up to the next block. You don't keep yourself down. You're supposed to move up. So remember too, the limitations also go to the limited belief system, right? The limited belief system that was outside of you, the program that was outside of you to keep you trapped. So let's move on. 12, let go. Realize that we cannot control everything and events in our life through the human self. Absolutely not. Sometimes it is necessary to let go and let Goddess, Gods. Letting go involves surrendering yourself and your ego to a higher force. And many times a higher force is you. Excuse me. Remember what I said, that you are a goddess and a god with amnesia. So you gotta let go and let the God self, which is you, to go ahead and take over. You let go of your ego. The ego does not like that at all. As you connect more and more to your higher self, surrendering and let it go becomes less difficult. Letting go also means surrendering fears, worries, and insecurities, and trusting your God self or the universe that will everything will work out. Yes, you got to trust yourself. Trust your path. Let go. And 13, no, it's no coincidence. 13, right? The 13 is us. We are 13, the sacred 13. So meditate. Meditate is an essential, is very essential on the spiritual path. If you are to connect with your higher self, you must be able to be still the mind through meditation, through the inner quietness. You can then learn to listen to small, listen to the still small voice within of your true self. Meditation is a key which can open the door to higher perception, unlocking the perfect wisdom in your very own hearts. Through quieting the mind and focusing your attention, you will allow your own initiate inner wisdom to flow into your awareness. Now, I know sometimes meditation can be difficult, especially if you have a monkey mind, right? If you have a monkey mind, I know that um, that it can be hard to meditate, but it's not impossible. Nothing is ever impossible. Hey, where's my lavender? Hold on. Yeah. Okay. One thing for sure, and these are my herbs. One thing for sure, what I love about the herbs that we have, that that Mother Earth provides us. When you have a monkey mind, you take some lavender, make some lavender tea. Especially if you want to meditate, you want to clear your mind, clear the monkey in the mind. You want to clear it, or some passion flower. It clears your mind. It also activates. Let's see. It's to your higher consciousness, and it helps your clairvoyance and downloads to your spirit, your spiritual and sense of yourself. The passion flower does that. So like I know, like me, when I do meditate, I be having all these thoughts in my mind. So I gotta calm my mind. One thing for sure too, like I heard this from Brother Panic. He said that if you do have a monkey mind when you're trying to meditate, that sometimes you just need to listen to him, because it listen to the voices in your mind, because it 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 shows you something about who you are, and it opens up a deeper understanding of who you are while you're trying to meditate. Because remember, you're trying to get to your higher self, so the voices are probably trying to help you figure out more of who you are, to tap more in to that mind, that mindset, right? So yeah, it's very important to be able to do these 13 steps, you know um especially right now. And like I said, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are seeing the synchronicities and they're feeling different. They feel they know they're not, that something's going on with them, physically, mentally, and spiritually, and they're starting to connect the dots. You're not alone. If you are one of those persons, welcome, embrace it. It's time to take back your control, take back your power. Remember, you are great. Nothing outside of you shouldn't control you. Because one thing for sure, the creators, they get us free will for a purpose. It doesn't mean that something else should control us. They give you free will, right? So another thing too, they live through you. They live through you. So it's always better to know who you are. Know thyself. Know thyself. Know thyself. It's like I don't know. Like I've been more happier. I've been just like, man, I'm vibing, man. I'm just vibing. I love the fact that I'm on here, I'm talking, I'm doing this. I love the fact that outside that I can talk to people like when I jump in with my Uber driver, there's some that I could connect with really good, man. And some of them, they don't really talk, but when I do talk to the driver, we connect, man. Break them some not break down some knowledge to them. Talk about something that they wouldn't talk with someone else. You know what I mean? So it's always good to be able to have that awareness, man. To have that knowledge, because knowledge goes a long way, man. You could be able to speak somebody on a whole different level. It awakens something in somebody too, man. It just sets a spark in them, because we all have that divine spark within ourselves. We just gotta find it, man. We just gotta find it. Once you find that spark, there's no way in hell that they can turn it off. Once it's on, man. It's on. It's just like, for instance, like I said earlier, like I don't, you're like, yeah, I could say I don't play checkers. I play chess. But when I say that, I don't mean because I play physically on a physical board. I play that in the spiritual world. I play that in the spiritual realm. I play that with the psyche. You get what I'm saying? I play that. I make the moves. I make the moves in here and here. I make the moves in here. Checkmate, motherfucker. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm not a pawn. I'm not a pawn in somebody's board. I'm an emperor. I'm a king. You get what I'm saying? I operate in me, with me, my control, my expertise, my knowledge, my wisdom of thyself. You get what I'm saying? I don't fall in line with that system. I disrupt that system. System failure, baby. This is what we're in right now. We're disrupting that system. You get what I'm saying? So remember that and know who you are, because you are great. All right, fam. I'm gonna get off. It was good to be on here for a little bit. Drop some stuff, drop some gems. Um, I appreciate anyone that watches this. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let's help grow this. I'm sorry. Let's help grow this channel. Let's share it. You know, um, Stay tuned. I got some. I'm gonna be having some more stuff coming in. I just barely made this channel, so you see, man, you're still new to this, still getting my feet wet. So hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to connect. So we got to start from somewhere, man. We got to start from somewhere. All right. Now have a good night. Peace and love. Until next time.